Guys, gals, and fellow gender non-conforming pals, welcome back. My name is C28, and it is time for electricity stuff. That's right, just started a new class, Principles of Electronics. So this class is all about understanding how electricity actually bloody works. It is going to teach you how to understand diagrams, how to wire stuff together, and how to maybe not kill yourself with electricity, because that's bad. Don't electrocute yourself. No good. So, day one, we went into some pretty important basics of electricity. So let me pull up my notes actually, because I might need those. So the very first thing we went into is what the heck is electricity? What is that? Well, it is the movement of electrons from the valence orbit of an atom going to another atom. And that flow of valence electrons from one atom to another, and so on and so on and so on and so on, is your flow of electricity. Now, there are a few different concepts that we went into that are thrown around, you might have heard, and you may not know exactly what they mean. We got stuff like wattage, amperage, resistance, current, ohms, all these things. Some of these things are related. So let's pull up, actually, a really good thing is we have these notes that we are provided with. Adobe Acrobat thing. There we go. So this is super cool. First class that does this is, let me turn this to the side as to not just, cheat full sale out of their money. Yeah, so we have this document here that sort of follows the lecture slides with important information that we will find throughout. So, yeah. First thing on the notes here we have talking about a complete circuit needs three things. First thing you're going to need is your source. Where's your power come from? Second thing you're going to need is a closed circuit. It has to return back to that source. Third thing you're going to need, which maybe you don't, but you probably should, is the thing that's going to take in that load, which is called the load. So in a basic example here, we have a light. There's a light that is shining on my face. That light is being plugged into an outlet, which you could consider the source, or the power supply for that is the source, which is more accurate. And then the diodes for those lights, those would be your loads, and then the wires between is the closed circuit, closed path. You get rid of one of those things and suddenly it don't do what you want it to. So get rid of the closed circuit, boom, you cut a wire, boom, things are out. You cut the lights out, well, the lights aren't receiving power, are they? Nothing's happening. No power going through. Cut out the source, well, where's that coming from now? Yeah, basic stuff that most people know. But actual, not actual, what's the term I want to use? Professional terms? There's a word I'm looking for that's going to be on screen probably right now, but I can't think of it. But it's on screen. Yeah. Yeah, so we went into some formulas you could use to calculate different things. So let's go back to my notes, actually. My notes has some good stuffs. So Ohm's law is a big one. Talking about how you can calculate the electromotive force, which is a product of the current and resistance of a circuit. So the formula there is E equals I times R. Using that to calculate, and we haven't yet applied these things. So that's why I'm a little bit fuzzy on, okay, what was this actually doing? Which just came out of the class, just right now applying these in this video to say what they are, but I haven't actually applied them yet in a concrete example. Though I could probably think of one on the fly. Yeah. An important thing to know is you do want resistance in any circuit, otherwise you're going to break that circuit. Why? Well, because it's the product of the two. You need to multiply. If your resistance is 0, you're multiplying by 0. To get any source of electromotive force, multiplying by 0, you need infinite current, meaning you're going to burn out the thing that you're trying to run electricity through. Don't do that. Resistors are good. Resistance is your friend to make sure your circuit doesn't break. So there's a good example of, usefulness of that. Basic units. You have your electromotive force is measured in volts. So you may have heard of volts before, but what is that in the equation? That's the very first thing. The E equals volts, measured in volts is I times R, the current times the resistance. Your current is measured in amps. Your power, let's go to that next. Your resistance is measured in ohms. Kind of an omega symbol on screen now. Wow, yeah. And then finally, power measured in watts. I believe there was a formula we had for power. Yes, there was. Power being the product of your electromotive force and your current. So multiplying those two things instead of your current and your resistance to get your electromotive force. You can multiply your electromotive force by your current to get the power. And that's measured in watts, which you might be familiar with, such as a battery having a certain milliamp or mega amp. Well, I think it's milliamp hours, certain amount of milliamp hours, mAh, with about 5,000 being pretty standard for most phones. Most phones have about a 5,000 something milliwatt hour battery, something like that. Maybe it's 15,000 and I'm stupid. Miss M, what is it? Rog. Okay. That checks. Go away. So that amount. The majority of today was just going over these concepts, talking over them, understanding the relationship. That was a main thing that was harped on today. Was you don't want to understand these things independently. You want to understand how they relate to each other. Because when you're working on a circuit, you probably don't want to make the mistake of, oh, well, this means this means this, but what does that mean together? And then suddenly something goes boom. That would be unfortunate. You don't want a thing going boom, do you? I mean, you might. That might be your goal, but that would still require knowledge. If that's your goal, you want to make that happen, you need the knowledge of how things interact. Or you just want to get surprised. Bad idea. Don't recommend it. Yeah. Another interesting thing we went on about in class was the relationship between electromagnetism and what is it? No, magnetic fields and electrostatic fields brought about from different things. So I still need to study a bit on electrostatic fields to fully understand what this is. The basic action of it is if you touch a corner of a wall and you get shocked, that's because there is an electrostatic field that had some valence electrons jump from one place to another. And that little variance got popped over. What caused that to increase? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I know mismodulations I could have her explain on screen, but I don't even know if I could ask the right question to accurately give you an answer. I probably could, but I want to stand by because we'll learn about this more in class later. So I'll bring up that again, like in Show Pro, where I was like, oh yeah, the bloody Dante protocol. It's like it's audio. Well, more specifically, it's a way to not have all of your analog cables plugged into the back of the thing and have them all plugged into one thing, and then you can separate them out however you want to. I didn't know that at first. I was like, oh yeah, it's just audio thing. It's a different audio cable. Wow. Sure, but it's more than that. So I don't want to skip over something important like that for electrostatic fields. So I'm not going to explain it yet. You can look it up later on your own time, or now just end this video immediately and be like, hi, I'm done. Or bye, I'm done. Why did I say hi? Bye, I'm done. And go about your day. But I'd appreciate if you stayed. I think I do have the notes in here, though, about how it relates. So I'm going to find it. Yeah. There we go. So, so the more voltage you have, the more electrostatic fields you'll have, the more current you have, the more magnetic fields you'll have. That's funny. That's the answer I was looking for, and I just had it hidden in my notes. Hence, actually, the reason why our instructor made that PDF document for us. He was talking about, notice like when he's studying, he can do one of two things, or taking notes in class, he can do one of two things. He can either understand the material or have it written down. Can't really do both. No. It's one or the other. You can't really get both. So he made that so we can have both. It's already written down mainly for us, and then we write down the key concepts that we can focus on. Hey, I wrote that. I remember that. But he didn't write down the whole sentence, so you didn't waste time not paying attention in class. That's what I did there, not paying attention in class and just writing stuff down. Yeah. So voltage gives you more electrostatic fields. That's your electromotive. What was that called? Was that right? Yeah, electromotive force. I was right. That I times R, current times resistance. That'll create your electrostatic fields. And then more current going through gives you more magnetic fields. Yes. Final little thing we went on into was series versus parallel wiring. This is something that we did talk on in Introduction to Show Production, but more as it... we weren't as mathematical about it. Whoa, bye. Whoopsie. There goes the stability. I hope that's good enough. Sorry about kicking you. That was so rude of me. I'll try to avoid that in future. Effective immediately. Yeah, so in Introduction to Show Production, we did touch on amps being wired a certain way, loudspeakers being wired a certain way, in series versus parallel. How is that going to draw your power and resistance? How does that play in? But we're diving deep into it here. So when you have something wired in series, it's very straightforward. Whatever the resistance is of everything, you just add it. If you got 100 ohm resistance here, you got 1,000 ohm resistance here. If you got a 1,500 resistance here, well, you're gonna have about 2,600 ohm resistance at the end of that. If I remember the numbers that I said correctly, I think I did. I might have not remembered the numbers that I said, but yes, it just all adds up. So 1 ohm, 2 ohm, 3 ohm, bring it all together. Yeah, you got yourself a funky 6 ohm thing going on. Differently though, you have series. Series is a little funky. Series is done by adding the inverse of each. So 1 over the ohms plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that. All that under 1. 1 over all that. So that seems complicated. On screen, here is a diagram. I don't know where I'm going to put it. Wherever there's more space is where I'm going to put it, which I think is here, but it might be here. I'm not sure. This wide angle camera is a little strange. But yeah, that little diagram there shows you the formula. But to basically explain it without that diagram, it's more about... Not more about... it. There's a button on your calculator, right? That can just invert it. So you just plug in the ohms, you invert it, add, plug in the ohms, invert it, enter. There you go. Invert it. That's your answer. Much easier. I was actually I was recommending like a graphing calculator app to my mates in class. Before the instructor was like, well, actually, scientific calculator is a little bit better for this because you don't have to do all your parentheses and stuff. You can just simply press like buttons in series real quick. And I didn't know that the invert button existed. That little button is pretty cool. I like that little button. Yeah, if you don't know that little button, that's your friend now for the day. Please go play with that invert button and find some equations that require it and be happy that you've now discovered that thing exists. For those of you that didn't know that existed and were like hearing me speaking on it now and just questioning C28, how are you so stupid? I just didn't know, but now I know, and it feels good to know. Knowledge is nice. Indeed. Yeah, that about does it. So yeah, we do have some homework to do. There was quite a lot of reading material for the class, so I'm going to be doing the homework shortly. And fortunately, my class schedule is set up where I have Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Other than that, I'm basically free. So I get to enjoy the time of the chill. Work on my music, hopefully. Do a little bit of tutoring. Do a little bit of studying. A lot of studying for this class. There's a lot I want to do. I would love to be able to, after this class, start buying broken synthesizers and repairing them for either myself or just to sell off and make money. Money's nice, you know. I like eating. Eating is nice. It's very good. So making money doing that would be pretty cool. Fun gig. Plus, you know, just add to the rack here. My whole collection of synth stuffs. That'd be cool. Dance of Dark Pixels still releases on the 9th of February 2024. So looking forward to that release. I want to see what I can do to keep pushing the mixing process and mastering process of Lost Melodies and Unloved Timbers Volume 2. But things are slow. Oh no. I feel it's like a motivation thing, like trying to get into it, like, oh yeah, it's mixing time. But it's like, oh, it's this project that has just been so sluggish, and when I finish a thing, I can't just upload it. I just have to wait for the next thing. So it's it sucks. But I'm almost there. I'll just go to home run it. Just keep going, and then upload the thing and give you a release date. I really want to have this thing released by March. If I can get it released sometime in March, I'll be happy. If I don't, well, I will not be happy. But it will be released by the end of the year. I really hope before the summer starts. Yeah. That's it. That's it for C28 stuff. Yes, indeed. Well, without any further ado then, if you have any questions or comments, you can have those in the comment section below and I'll get back to them. Post them in the space if they're substantial. If you enjoyed today's video and other videos like this, you can indeed subscribe, and YouTube will give you more videos like this from me and from other creators too, which is pretty cool. Yeah. If you super enjoyed it, really enjoyed it, want to get in the action, you can join and become a Control Voltage. Control Voltages get access to the Discord server, early access to videos, behind the scenes content, and some more down the line once we figure out what we want to do. We need to have a convo. CVs and I figuring out what that is. We'll chat over on the Discord server. Yeah. So I hope you all take care of yourselves. God be with you. And goodbye, YouTube. See ya.